Reddit stories: my dad and his wife are stalking me and trying to force themselves into my life because I told my stepmom she will never be real mom. My mom passed when I was 14. She was the one I was closest to, and I miss her every day. My dad moved on really quickly, like 1.5 months later. He was openly dating his current wife, and I think he might have been cheating on my mom. She moved in 4 months after my mom's death, and then, 9 months later, they announced their engagement on my birthday. I didn't take it well. I made a scene, dumped the cake they got me, and walked out. I disappeared for a few days until they were about to put out a missing person/runaway report. I was forced to go back. They tried to get rid of all evidence of my mom, pictures, personal stuff, memories, everything. I kept what I could and hid some. They wouldn't let me celebrate her birthday or anything about my mom. They also tried to force me to call my dad's wife mom. I never did. They got mad every time I didn't call her mom or use her first name. I once spent 2 weeks not talking to them when I was 16 because I was ruining their family dynamic. They caved at about the 15th day of no communication. I left for uni when I turned 18 and went low contact, hardly going back. When I was 21, I got engaged to my fiancé, who knows about my relationship with my dad and his wife. She respects it and is on my side. When they found out, my dad and his wife had a fit. My dad's wife posted on social media, saying she was excited that her son, me, was getting married. I made a post saying I'm not and never was her son, and she won't be a grandma to any future kids. My dad got mad, saying I was disrespecting my mother and embarrassed her. I told him I lost both of my parents on that day when I was 14. That was 3 years ago, and we went back to low/no contact. But my wife is about 8 months pregnant. They showed up to my house. I never gave them my address. They wanted to talk and meet my wife. I didn't let them in and told them to go back where they came from. But they bought a house about 5 minutes away from us. It's too much for me, and my therapist wants me to let them in, but I want to cut all contact. It wouldn't be so bad if they just stopped trying to replace my mom. I don't know much about my dad's wife. I don't even know if I know who my dad is anymore. My wife is struggling to support me emotionally and doesn't know how to help. Internet strangers, how do I convince them, dad and dad's wife, she is not and will never be my mom, ETA, about my therapist? He said I should express my true feelings towards them in a non-hostile and threatening manner. Do it constructively and get to the root of who they are and how they feel about the situation. But I'm going to find a better therapist. Update 1, 3 weeks later. Subscribe for more Reddit stories. Hello all. Thanks for your comments and feedback. I did read them all. I couldn't reply for some reason. Also, for those who said I must be fake because of a lack of replying/updates, the post got so much attention that it was locked in 24 hours. I do have a life with work and an 8-month pregnant queen that I have the privilege of calling my wife that took priority. To answer some questions and to clarify, my wife, me, and our unborn child are doing good overall. My wife is over being pregnant at this point. Our child should be here in the coming weeks. I did find a new therapist. I called to cancel the rest of my appointments on the books, and he did not take that well, so I have put in a complaint. I met with my new one, and I like her a lot better. I feel like I'm actually being heard and actually getting the help I needed. I want to make this clear, I am 24. My dad's wife is 38. 14 years older than me. My dad is 52. 14 years older than his wife. So when she entered my life, I was 14, and she was 28. There were also theories about how my dad might have had something to do with my mom's death. That is not the case. But I still believe they were together before she passed. I am investing in a security system, but it will be a few weeks until they can install it. But for now, we have a doorbell cam and some cheaper cameras. Social media. Since the post about her being excited about being a grandma, how my wife and I getting engaged, we have locked down all social media. My wife and I are not active on any platforms anymore except for messaging or sharing pictures. We found the leak as well. It is my wife's sister's husband. We had a family dinner where we had planned on working on the birthing plan. BIL was insistent on being there, which was odd as he was not a part of it to begin with. While we were waiting for my MIL to get home, I shared what happened between my dad and how it made me/my wife feel. BIL got visibly uncomfortable. When I called him out on it, he denied it, but it was obvious. SIL called him out, and he broke down. He said he had been talking with them because we need all the family support we can get and they should know their grandbaby. This caused an argument. It ended with SIL moving out and staying with us. They have no kids and had some issues. I think it is over for them. I will never trust him. Our birthing plan has been locked down and secure, made a day later without BIL. But we have some just in case of crazy showing up plans. Everyone who needs to know the plan/details know. Now. It is surprisingly hard to get a protection order. Where I live, it is heavily dependent on violence or physical contact. Technically, what they have done is not against the law yet. They are perceived as no real danger at this time since there were no threats made, and they left when asked to. They have free will to move wherever they want. Also, since a family member gave another family member my address, it is fair game. In regards to grandparents' rights, it is only when my wife and I have lost custody or are unable to care for them. But my MIL and FIL will be taking on that role if needed. My wife and I are not in a position to move. We just bought our house when interest rates were low, and my in-laws helped with the down payment. It is nothing massive, but it is home and perfect for our starter family. My dad and his wife are unable, shouldn't, have kids. I don't know from what side made it impossible. So that may be why the constant pressure. I did write my dad a letter summing up why I want no contact. How I feel about what they did. How his wife is not my mom and will never be. If I feel like giving them a chance, it is on my family's terms. Specified that my family is me, my wife, and any possible children moving forward. They are not to talk to my wife or me at any time unless it is through our lawyer. He can decide what information to pass on. They are not welcome around us at any point. Including our house, school, daycare, social gatherings, birthdays, Christmas, BBQs, etc. As well as in public, we are strangers. Keep space and act like we don't exist. If they break this, they will get a follow-up letter, up to and including a protection order. The letter was quite long. Our lawyer looked it over, and my wife and I signed it. Then he signed it as well as it being notarized, and then we made legal copies for all of our records. My lawyer went with a private delivery service and hand-delivered it to him with a signature of received goods. Plus, video evidence as well. So far, so good on that end. I'm now focused on my wife and soon-to-be child. I hope I'm ready. I know how not to be a father, so there is that. Thanks all for your input. Is there anything else I should do or think of to protect my family? Update 2, 6 months later. In the weeks before my wife had our baby, things got really stressful. I had my first panic attack, and it was not fun. Luckily, my wife helped me through it. My brother-in-law, BIL, tried to apologize and get back with my sister-in-law, SIL. But he messed things up by explaining again how he was right to reconnect my parents and family. After that, their divorce has been moving quickly. When my wife gave birth, it was an amazing experience for me. Holding my tiny baby for the first time was incredible. I couldn't believe how much I could love someone I just met. Both the baby and my wife are doing really well. My wife keeps saying she feels like a cow, and I'm not sure how to make her stop. She even randomly moos at me sometimes. My dad and his wife tried to show up at the hospital. I still don't know how they found us or knew where we were, but the staff blocked them and covered for us. As some of you predicted, we started running into them randomly around town, especially at grocery and shopping stores. Even if I drove out of my way, we would sometimes bump into one or both of them. Law enforcement says they're not doing anything against the law, and they don't seem dangerous or malicious. We did our best to ignore them, stay home, or have a family member get the items we needed. My therapist has really earned her paycheck these last few months. My lawyer is doing their best, but I feel like the laws are against us. It's frustrating, like innocent until proven guilty or nothing is dangerous until after it is. Or hurry up and wait until something bad happens, then we might do something. We moved. I never want to do that again. Good family helps, but with a newborn and crazy people around, it was stressful. I know it doesn't sound possible, and I'm still in disbelief, but my in-laws are amazing. They got us in contact with a friend of theirs who wanted to downsize. Long story short, we got a really good deal on a bigger home with more land. It needs a lot of work, but it's baby-friendly. It's old and outdated, but we've been making it ours. We're not rich by any stretch, and I'm doing 99% of the work myself. My SIL moved in and helped us make it possible. Since moving, we hadn't seen my dad or his wife. That changed about 2 weeks ago. I was going to update and wrote everything I just shared. Then, my lawyer contacted me, saying my dad reached out and wanted to talk. I tried to say hard pass, but they advised me, saying, I think it would be in your best interest. So, we set up a date and time in public. 3 days later, at a coffee shop, we met up. Even though we were early, they were waiting for us. It was just my wife and me, also a paralegal from my lawyer's office undercover. I could see the disappointment in their eyes that our child did not come with us. It started awkward AF. They began with some small talk, but I just said, what do you want? Well, my dad's health is not well and is going downhill steadily. He may have around 2 years at most. They showed scans, doctor's notes, tests, and other items to prove it. I was quiet the entire time they talked, and all I could think about is, that sucks for him. It was like getting news that someone you knew when you were a child died or is sick, like a neighbor or an old babysitter. For me, no real emotion or feelings, because I feel like I didn't have a real connection with them. My wife knew I was irritated and tried to silently calm me down. When they were done, I said something like, I'm sorry this happened to you. I hope you get better. Then, I got up to walk out. His wife opened her mouth and said something like, that's it? That all you have to say? You owe it to him too. I didn't let her finish and went off on them. I said everything that I had been saying in my head for years, a practiced monologue I started when I was a teen. Highlights include, but are not limited to, how he owed me more than anything. How he ruined any type of relationship the moment he started thinking with his dick. When he tried to erase my real and only mom. Neglect, abuse, overpunishment, the works. Then, I finished with my real mother, who died when I was 14. Pretend I did as well because that is when he, my dad, became dead to me. Now, looking back, I find it in a way funny that my 5'4" wife was holding back a 6'3", 200+ guy. But they kinda looked like fish opening and closing their mouths. My wife then escorted me away. When we got to the car, I had my second panic attack. But since things have been quiet but still fresh, I'm struggling but working through it. When my wife notices me zoning, she just hands me our child, and things get better. Sorry for the long read if you are still here. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may your life be blessed. Reddit stories. My friend wants to date the girl I'm close to, and he says that he can give her what she needs. About 3 years ago, I was just out of a relationship with a girl who wasn't nice to me. We broke up before I finished high school, and I wanted some time for myself. Then, I met the most amazing girl, let's call her Lisa. She had also been in a bad relationship, so we both didn't want anything serious. At that time, my driver's license was taken away. I was speeding a lot, a tough time in my life, but I learned my lesson. My friend, Ken, would drive me to see Lisa. For a few months, we all hung out together, and Lisa and I would cuddle while watching movies. Sometimes, we sneaked off to make out a bit, but not for long, because we didn't want to be rude to Ken. Lisa and Ken became friends too, like an older brother and younger sister. Ken had a girlfriend, but their relationship wasn't doing well. After I got my license back, I started seeing Lisa without Ken. That's when Lisa and I started having a more serious relationship. However, I panicked and didn't talk to her for a few weeks. Lisa and Ken stayed friends, and Ken said he wouldn't stop being friends with her because I was being silly. I realized I was wrong, and Lisa agreed to see me again. We picked up where we left off. Ken broke up with his girlfriend around this time, and I moved in with him. We continued hanging out with Lisa, and everything was good for several months, except for a couple of times when Lisa ghosted me. Over the last year, especially since she turned 18, I noticed Ken acting differently around Lisa. He would flirt with her in front of me, and I told him I didn't like it. Lisa didn't flirt back and pulled away when he touched her. Ken started drinking more and, the other night, told me he's in love with Lisa. He said if I cared for them at all, I should step aside so he could pursue her. I think it's messed up, but am I wrong? Lisa and I have an unconventional relationship. We don't use labels like boyfriend/girlfriend, but we're exclusive, say we love each other, and have a good relationship with each other's families. I'm happy with her, but Ken's words are making me wonder if I'm holding her back. What do you think? Update, 1 week later. Subscribe for more Reddit stories. Hey everyone! I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who helped me out with their advice and wanted to give you an update on what happened. So, I've been staying with Lisa for about a week now since the whole thing with Ken. Thanks to all the advice I got, I decided to ask Lisa if she wanted to officially be my girlfriend. And you know what? She made it even easier for me. Lisa suggested that it might be a good idea if I just told Ken that she's my girlfriend. I thought that was awesome, so I asked her if I could tell everyone, and she said yes. Now, Lisa and I are looking at apartments this week, because I need a new place to stay, and we want to move in together. I talked to Ken a bit after he told me he liked Lisa. I told Lisa everything he said, and she wasn't interested in him at all, just like I thought. I also told Ken that Lisa is officially my girlfriend now, so he shouldn't worry about me not committing. But he didn't believe it and wanted confirmation from her in person, without me there. Lisa agreed to meet him on Sunday, but he wanted to meet at the apartment without me there. Lisa wasn't comfortable with that, so she said if they were meeting without me or her parents, it had to be somewhere public. Ken got mad, said mean things to her, and she decided not to see him again. She even blocked his number. He's tried reaching out to me, but I might block him too if he doesn't stop. Thanks again to everyone who helped me figure this out. TLDR, Lisa is officially my girlfriend, and we're moving in together. Ken made some weird requests, got angry, and Lisa ended up blocking him. We both wish him well, but we're not keeping in touch with him anymore.